Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, what a day, folks. I met two separate, distinct groups of human beings from different sides of the planet, and we got to have some discussions. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. We have international thoughts, a complete wide array of thoughts. In fact, yesterday was fascinating. It was really a lot of fun. And, we spoke for an hour and a half. Kaz, the Italian hillbilly, a.k.a. the fourth dimension. Of course, Oliver Uman. We had a big round table here and talked about some reality. And reality bites. Not always in a good way, but reality is very real, like pain. So here's what we got, folks. We got one heck of a show this Thursday, this Friday Eve. Get your questions down below, and I want to share with you some thoughts. I'm going to start with this story, and we're going international. Israel. You know that it did not tell the United States government, it did not tell the Biden regime that they were going to launch their strike that killed the Hamas leader inside of Iran. Why? Because Biden and his White House shithole has an awful reputation for leaking to the enemy. I wonder why that is. I wonder how that is. So Israel's like, we're not saying shit because we don't want it to get out. We don't want it to go to our enemies so they can escape. But, they just implied it. It implies it, that Biden leaks intel to terrorists, not just the news, but to terrorists. Very fascinating. So one of the groups of people I met today was an Israeli who was also an IDF soldier. And it was kind of funny in a way. He's just a little guy, like 5'8", maybe $150 soaking wet, but he was a nice fellow, and we had a talk. And because of the nature of the discussion and the time frame we operated in, we had to play catchwords. So he said, I was a soldier. I said, IDF? He looked at me and said, veteran? I said, yes. Marines. And he looked at me and he goes, Trump? I said, yes. And I said, Gaza, Hezbollah, Hamas, bad? And he's like, oh, yes. We went back and forth. But what he said was something I can pass on is America, us, the United States of America, we had best get our shit wired tight and elect Trump, or America is going to deal with terrorism and violence and crime the way Israel is. And as soon as he said that, I thought about this. I remember when October 7th happened and all of those innocent, idiotic youths in Israel, all the youths who were partying in the desert. Who the fuck wants to party in the desert? They're partying in the desert, and in comes Hamas, like a bunch of screeching vultures out of the sky, shooting and killing people by the hundreds, over 1,000 total. And I thought, man, that's terrible shit. But yesterday when Kaz and I and Uman were talking, I said, you know what? It's one thing to have an American killed. It's one thing to have people killed in another country. And if shit gets nasty here, it's a completely different story when it's your family. Your mother was killed. Your brother was killed. Your father was injured, killed. Now it's personal. And I think that was kind of the feeling I got when I spoke with this IDF former soldier. He says it gets very personal. Understand that, folks. That's why you need to be ready. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. be very aware that when it comes, it will be that you're not going to have to worry about Washington, D.C. as much as you need to worry about your house and the 10-mile radius around it. That's where it's going to be personal. All right, that's story number 1 from today. Story number 2, same job site, delivery shows up, 2 dudes get out. I look at one guy, he's got Celtic runes tattooed on his neck. I look at the other guy, he looks like a Palestinian. I looked at the guy with the runes on his neck. I said, what's up with that? He said, he's fucking Puerto Rican. And the guy started doing, I trade you 1 goat for your construction materials. Right? He just started that shit. And we all fucking busted up. And he said, they do, this company. He goes, man, we don't have any women, any HR, any of that shit. So we get to make good jokes all the time. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But these are 2 Florida men, right? Florida man. And one was 24 and the other was, I think, 31. And so relatively young men, Florida men, both of them very much pro-American. And it didn't take any time to figure that out. And I said, so, young men, so, young Florida men, what do you think of what happened with Trump? How did that make you feel? And they both looked at me, and the one guy, the Celt, he said, I got a little Scottish and a bunch of German. And he, as much as I look the part, he looked even more the part. And they were not white supremacists. They were not racists. They were Americans. And the one guy says, look, my dad told me, and this is just what his dad told him. If that bullet had been another inch over, we would be in civil war. See, and look, these guys didn't know me from Adam. They're supposed to be subscribers now because I said, look it up. Come here, you will get not only entertainment, but you'll get valuable information and be introduced to one hell of an information network. Now, right, he said civil war would have happened. Now, again, they don't know who I am. They're not trying to fucking impress me. I'm just a guy on a construction site wearing a Hawaiian shirt. But I think that's the sentiment, is it's Trump or die. Now, again, Trump is not Ronald Reagan. Trump is not Teddy Roosevelt. Trump is not Andrew Jackson. And Trump is not George Washington. But Trump is Trump. And we're going to go with that. Oh, good golly. Today is Thursday. It's Friday Eve. That means tomorrow's Friday night. Free for all. But right now, we're going to do a little bit more for me. Actually, a lot bit more for me. And we're going to get to your questions. So what happened today? What happened last night? What has been happening that you want to talk about? Do you have a statement, a prediction? Do you have a comment politics, a comment culture, a comment law? I tell you, folks, there's a lot to comment on. One of the things that got me, though, was this boxing match at the Olympics between a biological female and a guy with a dick. And the guy, right, is an Algerian pretending to be a woman. I was pretty sure in Muslim countries, they don't allow trannies. Well, it's being speculated that he was in there just to destroy women of the West. So he viciously beat the shit, right, out of the Italian boxing champion. Forced her to quit in like 45 seconds in tears because it is a woke Olympics. She said, this is unjust. And there's 2 male boxers and they have failed the biological test, meaning they've got an XY chromosome, meaning they've got a dick. And this, folks, we've had women getting beaten up, injured, and hurt in sports by men for years now. But this was it. This has pissed women off. Darcy T sent me an email and said, it's criminal. Lily, all women I know said this is bullshit. They've had it with this woke FAAT bullshit. It's more than just unjust. They're calling it criminal. And this is going to tear the LGBT crowd to pieces, and I can't wait to see them pay for what they've done. Not yet, but it's coming, folks. People have had enough of this bullshit. They truly have. I wonder what you guys think. Now, speaking of bullshit and people having enough of LGBTQ and also the diversity, equity, and inclusion, a Shark Tank celebrity, wasn't Trump a member of Shark Tank for a little while? Anyways, Kevin O'Leary decided he's going to speak up. He went public and he said, look, the Democrats I know regarding Kamala Harris are now having buyer's remorse. They are not happy. They're not happy that Kamala Harris was selected. There wasn't a party primary. They just said, you're going to be the next president if we can get you cheated in. Right? This is quite interesting. People are pissed. They're not happy with her. There is no enthusiasm. In fact, man, right before I came on, I think you or Kaz or Jolene or Vaughn put up that there's a live CNN poll. Is that still up? Was that you? There it is. Man, thank you, brother. He's on it, folks. He's a mind reader. Watch your thoughts. He's a mind reader. All right. He said, just saw a CNN live stream before the show. Had a who would you vote for survey. 64% Trump, 30% camel ho, and 6% neither. And note that it was CNN, the Clinton Communist News Network. They are not friendly to Trump. They hate your guts. They want me murdered. But yeah, now who watches CNN? I had this discussion with somebody. Can't remember who the fuck it was. Oh, it was Kaz and Vaughn. Kaz and Uman yesterday. I don't think Republicans watch CNN, ABC, MSNBC, CNBC, Peacock, Peacunt, NBC. None of those. No one watches that shit. But here we are. Unless a Republican was monitoring it and then called all his friends, hey, they got a live poll. Let's fucking trounce them. Right? And that's very possible. But I find it hilarious. I'm actually surprised, man. I'm surprised they allowed the numbers to stay up on the board. I don't think of CNN, the Communist News Network, the CIA News Network. I don't think of them as honest and fair and unbiased. I think they're a bunch of fucking liars. And they're a bunch of political hacks. So, again, shocked. Absolutely shocked with what's going on. Now, this is where the rubber's going to meet the road, folks. Presidential election. Without Trump, we go down the road of camel hell. Right? Camel ho Harris will take us to hell in a handbasket on a rocket chair ride to excitement. And if anyone can tell me where rocket chair ride to excitement came from, you are an old fucker. Okay. Anyways, in addition to Trump, we have something else. Justice Samuel Alito of the United States Supreme Court fame, one of two U.S. Supreme Court justices that all the Democrats, all the rhinos, all the globalists hate. All the Democrats, all the Antifa and BLM hate Justice Alito. He is now apparently privately considering retirement. Well, I find that pretty fucking interesting. It's not very private when John gets to hear about it. That means it's been pretty fucking public. So the balance of power is at risk in the Supreme Court. We already have too many softball, limp-wristed, fucked up Republican justices. We need more Samuel Alitos, right? We have to vote and get Trump in, folks. To get Trump in to save us from Kamala and the commies. And we need another Clarence, you ain't black, Thomas, please. I mean, Justice Clarence Thomas has been an immovable object in the Supreme Court. And I pray that Trump wins and actually picks another Clarence Thomas, not another Justice Kavanaugh, not another Amy Coney Barrett, and certainly not another Justice Roberts. Good God. Okay, anyways, there's a lot going on, folks. There's a lot going on. Now, Kamala Harris almost picked this black gentleman to be her vice presidential candidate, but surprise, he was arrested for multiple felony voter fraud charges. Whoops-a-daisy. So Kamala, sorry, she's going to have to pick from the white guys for Kamala. Imagine that. Imagine if there was a group called White Men for Trump. Right? But they are incredibly, they're incredibly hitting every racial pandering move they can. How about a Felch and fruitcakes for Kamala? Right? How about a tongue and groove chicks for Kamala? Crazy, folks. We've had enough of this shit, but it's not bad here yet. It isn't, folks, but it is. It is in England. That's right. Jolly old England, where our good friend Stephen Conlon is, and well, across the little sea there is our good friend in Belfast, Ireland, and then up in Scotland we've got friends on the Prepared Mind. But in England, folks, chaos has struck in a small British hamlet, and it hasn't. This chaos and the torching of a police vehicle was not done by immigrants. It was done by whitey. It was, folks. Residents have erupted in fury. The government is reporting that 39 police officers were injured. 8 police officers were seriously injured in rioting. And 1 emergency vehicle was torched and burned to the fucking ground. Why is whitey in England throwing a fucking fit to this degree? Why? Because 3 little white girls, 3 little English girls were stabbed to death with a knife. Stabbed little girls. You know, I remember when I was a kid and when I was growing up and when I was an adult, cute little girls sell Girl Scout cookies. That's what they do. Brownies, Girl Scouts, they show up at your door, they knock on your door. Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? In fact, Jolene, the prepared mother, her girls were Girl Scouts selling Girl Scout cookies. 3 girls murdered by who? A Muslim immigrant. And besides the 3 girls who were stabbed to death, several other were injured by the stabbing asshole. And they lived. But the government of England thinks that Jihad Joe is a good thing to turn loose on the good people of England. So I think it's good to see English folks wake up, take action, and refuse to accept their own destruction. Now, we asked the question yesterday, Uman and Kaz and I, if something goes wrong, who do you blame? Where do you get justice? Right? You're going to go take a sword and stab the castle like Lancelot and, right, Monty Python and the Holy Grail? No. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go stab a federal building? You're going to go shoot a concrete building with a gun? No, it doesn't do any good. So people, they start by gathering in the street, expressing their anger, getting pissed off. The police show up, try to disperse them, and then violence breaks out. That's how it starts. Not encouraging it. I'm just telling you that's how it starts. And then what comes next? 1 or 2 leaders pop their heads up and go, we're not doing any good here. Let's go downtown. And it grows and can grow from there. Just understand, folks, different strokes for different folks, and it's everywhere. Like I said, that young gentleman I met today, right? He and his father were like, it was close. That bullet was so close, it was almost a civil war. Now, would it be a civil war? I don't know. Would it be a partisan conflict? Probably. To what degree? No idea. And I said, I made sure I let the young gentleman know there's going to be another assassination attempt. And the guy was like, really? You think so? You think they're going to try it again? I said, yeah. What's stopping him? And he was like, oh, shit, I hadn't thought of that. I said, get prepared. Get prepared. Anyways, Kamala's continuing to pretend to be black. The mainstream media is continuing to say she's black and deny that she's an Indian. And President Trump went off on it yesterday, and people are continuing to put out evidences and proofs where it was covered, and Kamala admitted she's an Indian. And but also Democrats are pissed off that we're saying she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion, a DEI hire. But Biden himself bragged in the past. It takes a little flashback and you'll find this stuff. He said that Kamala Harris is the pinnacle, right? She's the peak, the pinnacle of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. And I think that's incredible. Because to be DEI, you just have to look diverse and you have to look fair. But looking diverse and looking fair is not how prosperity and productivity and freedom happens, folks. But Kamala is in the position she's in because she does look a certain way. And we've all discovered, including the Democrats. Remember, the Democrats didn't realize Joe, Sleepy Joe, Let's Go Brandon. They didn't realize that he was senile, dementia, Parkinson's riddled, right? They didn't realize that. They didn't realize how fucking stupid Kamala is either. But now they found out she looks a certain way, but her brain is shit. Absolute shit. All right, let's continue. I've got more where that came from. Speaking of Kamala, Representative Anna Paulina Luna from the great state of, wait for it, Florida. She wants to jump into the fray, and I recommend that we support everyone who wants to jump into the fray. I'd rather have them fighting up in Washington, D.C. than in our front yards. Now, Kamala said some shit. She talked some trash to Trump, taunting him. If you got something to say, quote, say it to my face, right? Well, Representative Anna Paulina Luna bitch slapped the not so tough Kamala. That's right. Luna said that Kamala, right, is hurting families. She said it to her face, trying to get her to answer for her crimes, in my opinion, at the southern border. Kamala would not answer. So Representative Paulina Luna said, you ran away, remember? That's her quote. You ran away, remember, Kamala? I'll say it to your face. You see, they're all talk, they're all bullshit. They really are. They're all talk and they're all bullshit. I tell you. Thank you, Darcy T, again. Let's see. Darcy T has a new nickname. It's Dos Equis, 2 X's. She's a woman. All right. And speaking of women, there is a 17-year-old female volleyball player. She is now paralyzed with brain damage. How did that happen to a 17-year-old young lady? Well, she was hit in the head, in the face, by a transgender volleyball player. She was hit so hard it caused brain damage, and she's now paralyzed. And you know what the transgender boy did? He sneered and snickered about it. Well, this 17-year-old is warning people, right? Warning people that this is going to continue until it's stopped, and we need to stop it now. And I can tell you and remind you that it was back when I think Lucas, my younger son, was still in school, in high school, in rural California high school. By rural, I mean there's fucking snow on the mountains like 8 months out of the year. rural, high mountains, but they got a tranny there. And they decided to allow this tranny to play on the women's lacrosse team, or rather the girls' lacrosse team. And guess what? Game number 1, that son of a bitch ran into a girl, creamed her, and injured her, sent her to the hospital. This is not new, in other words. That happened back in 2017, 2018. Right? The 17-year-old was recently crippled. And now we have this female boxer who made it 46 seconds before she quit and said, you know what? This is bullshit. Right? She said, I've never been hit that hard in my life. Just, it's incredible, folks. And I want to end on a very positive note. End my 30-minute segment. I want you to get your questions below because Mr. Uman is going to be ready to put them up. Republican secretaries of state, right? Secretary of State, the SOS, talk about an SOS signal, have removed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of foreigners, illegal aliens, non-U.S. citizens from voter rolls, right? They've ordered almost 155,000 voters to be removed over the past 4 years. I think we need a whole lot more of that. I think there's more than 150,000, 160,000. I really do. Democrats, folks, they're not hiding it. They're out there trying to register them and tell them to go vote. In fact, foreigners, illegal aliens, that makes them criminal because they're illegal. To be illegal is criminal. To be criminal is illegal. Illegal, criminal, crime, illegal, illegality, lawbreaker, criminal. Right? Not cool. Well, illegals coming on camera saying, yeah, they registered us to vote. They registered us to vote. So it's good to know, folks. The Republican who is an Ohio Secretary of State, Frank LaRose. That would be Ohio. That is the great state from whence the Italian hillbilly is from. Frank LaRose announced that as part of his comprehensive plan to remove all non-U.S. citizens, he has directed the County Board of Elections to remove an additional 499 non-citizens, yada, yada, yada. Folks, it's great. Last week, at the direction of Secretary LaRose, the boards removed nearly 155,000 who were confirmed, right, to be illegal. That's just Ohio, and that's just the those who obeyed the command. Right, that's just those who obeyed the command, the lawful order. I'm telling you, folks, we've got a big fight coming. The Democrats want these people to vote, so they will attack. They will threaten. Yes, they will. They definitely will. Oh, there's stuff happening, folks. Kamala is having trouble with her VP, or who she's going to pick as her VP. And some people think of it as a VP stakes. Whoever gets in there, if they get elected, they're going to become multi-millionaires because of all the money laundering and corruption in the Democrat Party. Anyways, Kamala said that Josh Shapiro, well, he had his schedule has changed. It seems like this fella, Josh Shapiro, is going to be the Democrat selection for VP. No primary. Let's just select everybody. Very interesting stuff. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it changes, and several commentators are encouraging the choice of Shapiro. What that tells me is there's an awful lot of mud out there, a lot of shit, a lot of dirt on this guy. And I think that's just great. Absolutely great. So let's have some fun. Let's get to your guys' question. It's time for the Inner Circle. Well, here we are, folks. Here we are. Mr. Uman, what do you want to talk about? What does someone else want to talk about in the audience? Everyday Live. Everyday Live, if you're a member at the preparedmind.club, a premium member there, you can show up here Monday through Friday live. Name Redacted checked in, and he said, I saw an interesting thing today. The FBI director, that would be Chris Wray, W-R-A-Y. He referred to his agency as a law enforcement and intelligence agency. I guess they finally, slowly, are publicly admitting what they are doing. Mission creep, anyone? Now, mission creep means, well, you're given this much authority, but by the end of the week, you have taken this much authority. And the week after, you'll try and take even more. See, FBI is supposed to be law enforcement for federal crimes. What's an intelligence agency? Well, an intelligence agency, like the CIA, which is the Central Intelligence Agency, intelligence agencies are supposed to collect data, sift through data, analyze data, determine what is happening as an intelligence agency, and then turning that information over to decision makers. Decision makers decide, does this intelligence that we have, does it, shall I say, we'll just use the word require. Does the intelligence require, from a national security standpoint, the Central Intelligence Agency to take action on that data? And if the answer is yes, then whatever action is required, lawful or not, an intelligence agency will choose, right, to eliminate the opponent, right? Called statecraft, spy games, if you will. So Christopher Wray is now saying the FBI is an intelligence agency, which means they're collecting data on us. And they're trying to find out who is a national security threat or a threat to the deep state. And then they have to determine if action is required to help deal with that. In most cases, they send FBI guys to people's doors and give a good knock and warn people or ask them questions, intimidate them, right? If I went up to people, 6'6", 280 pounds, and I had a badge on my chest, or I whip out a badge, right? Badge. Make sure they see my gun on my waist. And I start asking some questions. Hi, I'm with the GQI, and I have to ask you some questions. Don't make me do this the hard way, right? And you just start grilling people. Yeah, it's intimidating. And they get off on it. They sure do. There's no respect for the FBI anymore, folks. It is a shithole circus. They've got guns. They've got badges. They've got intelligence gathering. They've got investigatory powers. But they're a bunch of pussies. They really are. They're a bunch of pussies. I get that from a very reliable source, that they are, as well as the ATF, a bunch of pussies. That's what they are. Let's do this, shall we? Uman, who's up next? What are we going to talk about as we get into this? Mr. Diving Frog says, hey, John, if a person identified as a billionaire in a poor man's body, wouldn't that make them trans financial? Yeah. You know, I find this fascinating. Why not? If you're an illegal alien here, you don't have identification. You don't have a social security number, a way to pay taxes. You don't have an income. You don't have a job because you can't be hired without a social security number. You don't have transportation. You have nothing. But if you go to an auto dealer or you go to a real estate agent and you want to buy something, Joe Biden says you're not allowed to deny them based on being an illegal alien, based on their credit score. Well, why the fuck not? Everyone else gets denied. Okay, Mr. Illegal Alien, you want to buy a piece of property with a house on it? You're going to have to put 90% down. There you go, in cash. But anyways, yeah, Trans Financial, right? They don't even have to identify. They just have to say, I'm an illegal. Give me the fucking money. Give me the car. Give me the house. It doesn't matter that I can't make a payment. This is going to make the 2008 crash, folks, look like child's play. I mean, today was a big enough fucking bloodbath as it was. The Dow was down. It was down an incredible amount. 700 points. That only ended down 500 points. Gold hit a brand new all-time high, though. $2,506 before this strangely odd Wall Street crash occurred. Wall Street crashed because it was up. The market was up, and then it went down. One of these times, folks, it's going to go down, down, really down. Okay, let us continue. Mr. Uman, what is the topic of choice? And Chin Music steps up. And he says, 3 girls were stabbed. Info on the assailant is being withheld. Take a wild guess. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, folks. How is it that I just assumed that it's a Muslim that did it? Information has been withheld. No name, no picture. Because people who were there and witnessed it, they told everyone. That's how we know. We also know that these Muslims love to stab people. They love to brandish a knife and intimidate people. Who am I talking about? Oh, you know, the kind people that come to Western civilization and threaten everybody. You know, people like these guys, not your friendly neighborhood ice cream salesman. No, indeed. Yeah, take a wild guess. Chin Music, I'll tell you. Radical jihadi who decided he was going to kill little girls with a knife. Quite interesting. Right, quite interesting. Uman said they just released the name of the suspect in the UK. He's a 17-year-old named Alex Rudakubana. Middle name Muhammad, no doubt. He turns 18 in 6 days, so the judge released it despite technically still being a minor. The UK is a formerly common law jurisdiction. It's now, of course, Roman civil law, just like the United States, Canada, but still, their law is very similar to ours. He committed an adult crime. He did not steal the little girl's tricycle and try riding off. But what would motivate a 17-year-old to murder little girls and stab the shit out of everyone? Why? What kind of hatred do they have to have in their heart? How black are their brains with rot? Just rotted brains and rotted souls to do something like that. It's not like the little girls hurt him. Or wait, maybe they did. Maybe the little girls wouldn't accept his marriage proposal because everyone knows that Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, married, what, a 9-year-old? Nah, it's such a good thing. Really, and the practice still continues today, by the way. Men in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s in many Muslim nations are still taking brides, child brides, under the age of 10. Just what the fuck? Literally, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And so Rudakubana, Alexei Rudakubana. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'll just call him Saeed. Okay, let us continue. Uman, where are we going now? It's the slim one. He says, I do not understand how we even think we're going to win this election when George Soros is in control of the voting machines? That's a great question. Voting machines, they're still out there. The Dominion voting machines, with all of their failures, all of their shortcomings, all of their vulnerabilities, and George Soros can buy and pay for access. And his son, Alex Soros, is more than happy to take up the calling. Imagine if your dad was George Soros. It's like having your dad as the emperor, the evil emperor from Star Wars. You know, baggy eyes, the evil voice and a forked tongue. Right? Fucking hit. Can you imagine having dinner with your dad and all he does is hiss at everything as it walks by and gets put on his plate? He's like, I want some live mice to eat. Just what a... Anyways, let's attend to your question, Slim One. I don't understand how we even think we're going to win. I'll tell you how. By demanding audits of the voting. Right? They had to, and they finally produced the audits in Georgia. And it shows huge amounts of fraud. Same with Michigan. Same with other states. Asking for an audit of results is not a crime. Asking for audits for the results is not disrespectful. Right? Kamala is so incredibly unpopular. Even on CNN, their poll shows her losing 2-1. Trump has a super majority on a CNN poll. Now, I do know that CNN polls are skewed, but good golly, it skewed the wrong way, didn't it? Right? The blowout. You can only cheat so much. Once again, I will refer you back to yesterday's conversation, but also to Venezuela, where the people have nothing to lose. Folks, if you've got a house and a car and Kamala wins, how long do you think you'll own that house and that car before your neighborhood is overrun by Venezuelan criminals? Are you aware that in Venezuela, they opened their doors to the prisoners and told them, we will only let you out if you go to the United States? And they have. The mental institutions, the loony bins, dumping them. They're getting them out of their country and sending them to ours. Because, you know, diversity fixes things. We're going to have hell to pay. With Kamala, who says within the first 100 days, she's going to take executive action. That means executive orders and EO, and start taking assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, whatever she wants. She's going to become dictator. This should motivate the fuck out of you to get involved, make sure you vote. In fact, another Floridian I know said, I'm excited and can't wait to vote. If you're a Democrat, you can get excited and vote several times. But she is so unpopular, the voting by Democrats is going to be suppressed. Suppressed. Because they're not enthusiastic. They're not excited. They're not happy about her. She's a fucking liar. She's an opportunist politically for herself. She got into politics by sucking sausages. That's how she got into politics, folks. On her knees, Monica Lewinsky style. And she's slurped her way all the way to the vice presidency and now as a presidential candidate. It's shameful. It's fucking shameful. But here we are. This is where we're at. There's no enthusiasm for her. There won't be enthusiasm for one of her little, shall we say, soy boy Democrat Veep choices. She will, she wants to nominate a heterosexual, but they almost look like closet fruits, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they just haven't announced it yet, you know. But the voting machines, you can't cheat. If the poll shows Trump is ahead by 10 points and the vote count comes back that Kamala wins, it is time to riot. I'm not encouraging unlawful behavior. I'm not encouraging violence. But it will be time to riot and not accept it and oppose it, period. What other choice do you have? No, okay, I guess we'll just let her win. Well, they won. Okay, may as well just give up your house, give up your car, give up your job, give up your business, because they're going to let in more illegals. They're going to replace the conservative population, whether you're white or black or Hispanic, it does not matter. They're going to replace us. They are. They'll give your house to an illegal family. Why not? The government can say, hey, you don't own that house. Kick your ass right out of it. All right, let us continue if we shall. Thank you, Mr. Uman. And Uman says Shapiro would go over well with the tourist crowd. Would you care to elaborate? Oh, and there
it wouldn't let me type terrorist.
Oh. You couldn't even hyphenate it? Gee, many crickets. Yeah, YouTube will not let you speak. Shapiro should go over well with the terrorist crowd. Why Shapiro? Sounds a little bit Israeli to me. Right? We've got Ben Shapiro, the little conservative yet opportunistic, sneaky little bastard. I don't like him at all. I don't like Ben Shapiro. He's very smart, very clever, very witty, sharp-tongued, but an asshole. Anyways, Shapiro, yeah, the terrorists, the jihadis will not like him a bit. And so all of your American pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-rape supporters will protest the shit out of Shapiro and Harris. So yeah, bring it on. They will lose their Antifa vote. They will lose their BLM vote. They will lose, right? Of course, all of their Muslim immigrant voters. And that probably includes, folks, the illegals. The illegals. I mean, they're going to be like, shit, do we vote for Trump, who will kick us out, or Shapiro, who we just want to murder? It's very interesting. Politics, folks, makes for interesting bedfellows, if you've heard that expression. Meaning they'll get in bed with each other for money, authority. Strange bedfellows indeed. Mr. Uman, we're rolling through the questions good. I know we've got a lot to talk about. Chin Music is back. And he says, there used to be a TV show about debating Kamala. It was called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Oh, man. That was incredible. That was an interesting show. It was quite funny. They would ask simple questions of people. And, of course, anyone who got the questions right, they didn't get to be on the show. But they sure put a lot of stupid adults on there. And then they would ask intelligent young people the question, and they could answer it. They could answer it like, I am certain that all of the white pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist types, I bet they couldn't find Israel on a map. I bet if you took the words off of a map and pointed to Iran, they would say that's where it's at. That's over there in that Middle East area. That's got to be them. I bet they would be shocked to find out that on a political map, Israel is this tiny little speck, even though many people are shouting from the rooftops that Israel wants to take over land as far north as Turkey, as far west as Egypt, as far south as Saudi Arabia. This is an expansionist move. Well, I see it as a World War III move, but we're going to have to wait and see. Are you smarter than a fifth grader, Chin Music? I think you are. I know I am. I have yet to meet a fifth grader I couldn't beat in arm wrestling or in a political debate. But I like to see young people flexing their mental muscles and giving value to being intelligent. Let's do this. Let us continue, Mr. Uman. What else is there? We got lots of stuff to talk about, and it's Do Stuff with Nikki. And she says, don't know if you guys read this, but the Florida school board suspended an employee because they've been allowing their transgender daughter to play girls volleyball. Florida said, nope, canned her. Essentially, in Florida, there'll be none of that. So what Nikki's letting us know is, well, school employees are still playing the game. And a transgender girl is not a girl. The transgender daughter is not a daughter. It's a son. It's a boy. It's got a dick. Right? And so they were allowing this boy to play girls volleyball. I still look, if you want to be a tranny, if you want to tuck your weenie up so far around your shriveled little nutsack that you can poke the head in your own sphincter, go right ahead. Get your own league. Get a tranny league out there. Start tranny schools and pay for them yourselves. Right? Do it. Go start your own country. Go buy a country in Africa. Go buy a country in South America. Go find a country somewhere you can buy. Buy a fucking island or something in the Maldives and send all the trannies there. You guys can live in your tranny utopia. Is it a tranny-topia? Anyways, I'm glad they fired her, Nikki. That is very good news. Florida says no. No DEI. Florida says no. No to diversity, equity, inclusion. Florida says no to the trans game. Florida says no to everything that is anti-law and order, anti-justice, anti-American. Remember the huge anti-white movement to destroy America, to remove our own history? Florida said no. Good. And I pray for the day when we go, you remember that time back in the 20s when they tried this shit? It's amazing, right? This is I got some more gray in here. It's not just white, it's a bunch of gray too. You know, I grew up in the 70s. Bee Gees, right? Disco, the end of the fucking hippies, into the 80s, right? Were the best music ever. I mean, whether you're talking pop, rock, white boy rap, even black rap was okay back then. You know, you got Run DMC, MC Hammer, right? Okay, you got Motown, you got hip hop, right? All hard rock, heavy metal, fucking music. Even the British Invasion, Duran Duran and Depeche Mode, right? Those groups are all cool as fuck. And then we got the 90s. Shit started getting fucking weird. Not JD Vance weird and not Trump weird, but just kind of weird with Clinton in office. And then we got to the 2000s and we got 9/11. And then we got Obama. We got the internet. Shit has just gotten weirder and weirder. And then shit hit the fan over the cold called COVID. Woo! Anyways, thank you, Nikki. Mr. Uman, what are we going to do? Who wants to step up next? What do we want to talk about? And Name Redacted does. He says, no one ever talks about why marshaling the LGB folk. Answer, aggrieved, unstable, point and loose trigger ability, special victim protected class. I don't understand this question. I'm not reading it correctly. Mr. Uman, perhaps you can help me here. No one ever talks about why the marshaling of the LGBT folk. Why the marshaling of them, meaning marshaling, getting them together. Well, right, they're protected. This specialized victim class, right? We're supposed to feel sorry for them, right? They've been pushing this gay people are cool shit for 30 years plus. And we're starting to find out the Bible was right. It's morally wrong. And when it grows out of control, they become and show us their violence, how dangerous they are, how corrupted they are. Hey, if you want to be gay in the closet, great. Go be gay in the closet. Right? But when it comes out of the closet, when it gets out in the street, this is what happens, right? They are incredibly unstable. They are also aggrieved. I think he's correct, right? They want to get back at everyone else. They want to punish everyone, right? Right? They are, in my opinion, loose cannons, right? They're just waiting for something to set them off, right? Right. So triggered. They can't wait to be triggered so then they can respond violently. They are incredible mental disorder candidates. But no, we're supposed to accept them as normal. We're going to pay for that one too, folks. We're going to pay for the illegal aliens. We're going to pay for all of the hate America, right? Down with America, death to America, all those people. The fruitcakes, the communists. Think about all of the groups that are loose in this country, but the FBI is worried about parents. The FBI is worried about veterans. The FBI is worried about Americans with guns, but they don't give a shit about Antifa, BLM. They don't give a shit about Palestinians and illegals and drug cartels. They don't give a shit about the violent LGBTQIA plus minor attracted person weirdo freaks. All right, Uman, unto next. Who do we have? Was that the end of it? No, we're going to end it with Orlando. And he says, John, not sure if this is just happening, but I'm hearing Iran ordered a direct strike on Israel and people are evacuating. That was as early as this morning, brother. The Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, in response to the Hamas leader who was fucking missile strike at his residence in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. The leader of Hamas was hit with a missile strike. So the supreme leader has decided that there's going to be a direct strike on Israel. So the IDF soldier I talked to this morning, former IDF soldier I spoke with this morning, he said the last time they did a huge missile attack, the Iron Dome missile defense system did a good job, knocked a lot of stuff out of the air, but it cost Israel quite a bit. Have they replenished that? No, he couldn't say. He's in America. He's not over in Israel. But there's a big worry over there that they're going to launch such a huge barrage that Israel won't be able to protect itself against further barrages. And who is promised to attack Israel? President Erdogan. President Erdogan of Turkey. And you remember him the other day? He was like, why not? Why not do that? Why not indeed, folks? These people are dangerous. Thank you, Orlando. I appreciate it. And yes, that's true. If people are evacuating, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go in Israel? Where are you going to bug out to? The desert? Scary business, folks. Scary business. I'm going to end the show here. And see what's happened since we've started the show. The National Association of Black Journalists, they tried doing a hit job on Trump. And it was a setup. It was an ambush. And it backfired spectacularly. Because every time she took a shot at him, he canned her and the crowd laughed and jeered and went, ooh, very good stuff. It's crazy business, folks. Crazy, crazy business. They're going to continue to try. And I really thought it was a sham. There was not a whole lot of respect shown to President Trump on this. I'm surprised they didn't attack him and accuse him of lying about his assassination attempt, right? And Joe Rogan has been on it lately. I want to end with the last two things he's talked about that were of substance. Joe Rogan, extremely popular. The number one regular dude show on the planet. Bigger than network news, satellite TV, Joe Rogan. He said, Joe Biden, right? The evidence of him being just a little too tall is true. Can't deny it. All of a sudden, he's 6 inches taller. I want to know if that's the real Joe Biden. Additionally, Joe Rogan has questioned all the Kamala Harris hype. He said, this is his quote, "She was the worst VP of all time, and all of a sudden, she's our hero," right? And I'll say this. It's interesting when a conspiracy theorist makes more sense than mainstream media. Mainstream media should be asking these questions, not as a conspiracy theory. Why is she now suddenly a hero? But it would just be a matter of inquiring minds. And inquiring minds want to know. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Go to thepreparedmind.club and get your preps there. It's our store. We don't have a warehouse full of stuff, but you can click links and go check things out. Get prepared, whether you buy it from the club or somewhere else. I don't care. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And maybe you can get lucky like a Prepared Mind viewer and be gifted with a set of Baofeng radio walkie-talkies. I wish I could share that story, but the guy who's involved knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'll see you guys 0 Dark 30.